Alert from calendar. TCCTB.
Hi, good evening. It's 7 o'clock, and welcome to the live broadcast of the Conscious Creators Toolbox, our weekly session of discovering and fine-tuning our creative tools, our creative powers, our creative abilities. So thank you for being with us tonight. Thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks for joining me this evening, and it is Thursday the 25th of January. It is the full moon. It's the wolf moon. This evening is tonight, so hopefully you'll be ready to set those intentions, make some decisions about what you're going to be manifesting during this transit. Anyway, thank you so much again. Thanks for joining me tonight. And if it's the first time visiting us, welcome. We're excited to have you here with us, and I'd like to ask you or invite you to click or hit that like button, that thumbs up button. Give us a hello. Leave a comment when you visit us, and also subscribe. Help us build our community. We're in the process of building our YouTube community, and we'd love to have you join us. Yes, we're here. Like I said, we're here every Thursday night doing a little exploration and discovery and fine tuning and honing in on our creative tools and abilities. About the past month or so, we have been kind of doing something a little bit differently. We're in this we're doing a series of sessions where we're actually exploring our relationship with our spirituality and our creativity. We're looking at both sides of ourselves, our creativity, our spirituality, and we're comparing them, and we're just tuning in on our spirituality. And again, if you haven't caught any of our previous sessions, we'd like to invite you to visit our YouTube channel and check us out. The Thursday night Conscious Creators Toolbox is you'll find us probably under the live tab, because I think that's most of our broadcasts have been live. Every now and then we'll record one and upload it, but most of them are live broadcasts. So you'll find us under the live tab. So take a look and see what we've been talking about as we've been looking at doing the series on spirituality. And again, please subscribe to our channel. Help us build that community. We're newbies to YouTube, but we're hoping to kind of establish a community and build our community here on in this venue. Anyway, remember to hit that thumbs up and leave us a comment. Let us know what we're doing, how we're doing. If you have any questions about spirituality or your creativity, you can leave that in the comments, or you can just comment on what we share as well. And just leave us a comment. And if we're doing something that that you would prefer to give us a thumbs down on, then of course you're free to do that. But please, if you give us a thumbs down, please, you must tell us what we did wrong and how we can make ourselves better. Anyway, so tonight we want to continue our discussion of the connection between our spirituality and our creativity. And in the recent sessions, we defined both spirituality and creativity. We've talked about some of the definitions and the characteristics of both. We've talked about those during the previous sessions during the series. So tonight we'll probably take a quick look or review some of those definitions as well. But tonight what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on our spiritual growth and how growing spiritually affects our creativity, or is it our creativity affects our spiritual growth? We're going to talk about, kind of get a little bit more focused in on growth, developing ourselves. And spirituality our spiritual growth, our spiritual journey, if you would, is basically our life's journey, because we are a spirit. We're spirit having a human experience, and we're going to kind of talk about that. I've got a couple of quotes that I've been meditating on this week, and one of them is, "Creativity is God's gift to us. Creativity is God's gift to us. Creativity is our inheritance from God. It is who we are, because we are created in the image and are the same stuff of creator, and we can do and have and be all that our creator, our source, our father divine can do and have and be. He gives us the same powers, the same abilities to create as he does, that he did. And again, uh, our creativity is an inheritance. We create by default, because that's what we are. We're creators, like our creator, like our source, like God, like Father, like divine, like the universe. So, like I said, tonight we're going to be focusing in on our spirituality and our spiritual growth, and how that spiritual growth impacts our creativity and vice versa. Okay, here we go. So let me start by asking, is a person spiritual because they're creative, or is the person creative because they're spiritual? It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. One of the main goals or purposes of Team Conscious Creators, again, is to help folk know and understand and act on who, what, and whose they are. And first off, like I said, we are spirit. We're spirit beings having a human experience, but basically, we're created. We're created in the image of the great Spirit of God. And we're created out of the same stuff of Creator, God, Father, universe, divine, the great I am, or I am that I am. We're made in the same image and out of the same stuff of God, Father, Creator, universe, divine, the great I am, the great Spirit of God. And we can do and have and be all that our Creator, God, Father, Source, universe, divine, I am that I am, that great I am that I am, can have and do and be. And like I said before, we inherited that because we're created by Source, by that great Spirit, by that power. And so we can do. So we know, but Father, first of all, that God is simply not a man. He's not flesh and blood and a man and natural like we are, right? He's not formed into this glob of flesh and bones like we are, having an experience, a human experience. But what is happening, in my opinion, in my estimation, is that he's having that experience through all of his created and all of his creation. He's experiencing it because a bit of God, a bit of Source, a bit of Creator, a bit of the great I am is a part of me. It's a part of you and I. It's a part of us. It's a part of every bit of creation. Is a part of God, Source, Creator, the great I am. God is everything. God is all. We're blessed with a piece of God in us. And that piece of God is powerful. It is every bit total God, but God is above us. God is over us. He is our creator. We're the created of God. So of course we would be his created, his beloved, his children. Jesus called him Father. I call God Father as well. So he's Father, he's Daddy. And of course, Daddy comes first. And we are a chip off the block. So God is everything. All the names, all the titles, all the labels, all the designations, God encompasses them all. All right. Tree, that's created. That's creation. That's God. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything that we create and manifest Oh, if we're not for Father, if we're not for God, if we're not for Source, it wouldn't be. So all that we are, all that we have, all that we entertain, and all that we appreciate, and all that we enjoy is God. So of course God is over and beyond and above us. So we think and know God as a spirit. I believe that's what we probably do, because we don't think and know God as flesh and blood, unless we look at each other and say, "You're God," and like my grandmother used to call us little godlings, because she recognized the spirit of God was in us, was a part of us, was animating us and motivating us and inspiring us and giving us cause to be. Yeah. So she called us little godlings. So we can call ourselves gods if we want, because that God is in us. We're a piece of God. We can call all of creation God, because like I said, God encompasses all of it, all of everything. So when we think of God and we know God, or we think of God and we know God as a spirit, something almost beyond our understanding. It's like a mystery. We know God as all of this, but how can that be? Or how can I really explain it? I believe it. I know this to be true in my heart and in my spirit, man, because my spirit recognizes the spirit of God in creation. So I rest my understanding, I rest my knowing on my spirit, man. And hopefully as we grow spiritually and get an understanding of who we truly are, what we truly are, and whose we truly are, as we take that journey, that spiritual journey into ourselves, reaching up for that higher self, that higher power, God, the divine, the creator, the source. We reach up there and we reach up to that, and we delve into getting to know absolutely everything we can know about the source. And at the same time, we're knowing and we're understanding who we are and what we are. Because when more we understand of our creator and truly accept and believe that we are the created, then we get to know and understand even ourselves even more and more a bit. So we think and know God as a spirit, something almost beyond our total understanding. God is a mystery. He's a mystic. It's cosmic. It's just beyond. It's just beyond our human understanding. But again, our spirit man, our spirit, that piece of God, recognizes that God in everything. So I would answer that we are a spirit, also like our Father, and like our Father, and like our source, like God, like divine, like the universe, like creator, like the great I am that I am. We create. We are spirit that creates. And that quote said that our creativity is a gift from God. I say it's an inheritance from God. And then it says, by using that creativity, by putting it into action, we are giving back to God. Yeah. And when we think about it, we cannot not create, because we're creators. That's what God does. That's what our Father does. That's what our Creator does. That's what our Source does. So we follow after and do the same as God does. He created us to create. He created us to manifest. He created us to bring into our lives, into our experiences, the things that we desired and the things that we dreamed about and that we want and that we would like to experience and have and be a part of. So we are able, through that gift, that inheritance from God, from Creator, from Source, we can also create. And we do. By default, that's what we do. Right? We become aware, as we become aware and awaken and conscious of this truth, in part, we don't all of a sudden wake up and have a full understanding of this great thing that's way beyond our understanding. We have to grow into that. That's part of our journey, part of our spiritual journey, our spiritual growth. It's learning and understanding and coming to believe and to know and to experience what and who and whose we are. And again, we wake up in stages. We don't wake up all of a sudden, and all the power that God has invested and given us authority to, we can't automatically start using it and understanding it and using it properly and in the right way and bringing things about. Although we manifest by default. So one of the reasons that we get a lot of things in our lives that we don't want is because we haven't fully understood and grasped the totality of who we really truly are. Bit by bit, experience by experience, understanding by understanding, precept on precept, we begin to understand. We begin to expand our awareness, become more awakened, become more aware as we create mistakenly. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me do it again. And then we learn from that error that we made or that sin that we happen to fall into, and we come back and we turn and we do it again and do it a different way and learn from it. And we get to be better. We get to be better creators. We get to be better manifestors. We're growing. We're spiritually growing. And we're growing and experiencing through the act of creating. Of creation. We create, and that's how we learn, and that's how we experience who we are and what we are. We create it, and we step into it, and we experience it. And we may not like it, so we say, I'm going to start all over again. I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to go create something different, and I'm going to do it in a different way so that I can have a different experience. So we wander through this journey of life, through our journey of life and growing and growth by creating one experience, one event, one circumstance, one relationship, one connection after another. That's what we're doing. We become aware, awakened, and conscious of the truth in part, a little bit at a time. And once we awake and we're aware and we're conscious, we grow more and more and more in the understanding of that truth. As we create, God gives us a day, and then we wake up in that day and we go into that day, and absolutely everything we're doing is part of the process of creating and manifesting and bringing it to be and bringing it about. The thoughts that we're having today are creating our tomorrow. The words that we speak today, the desires that we have today are the seeds of the creations of things to come in our lives. So, yeah, we're spirit beings having a human experience, and we have that experience through the act of creation, of creating. Yeah. We grow more and more in the understanding of who, what, and whose we are, understanding our power and our ability of creating and manifesting a little bit at a time, one day at a time, one event at a time, one circumstance at a time, one creation at a time. And we take that journey and we're growing in that because we're gaining experience. Like I said, if we create by mistake, which, by default we're creating. So if it's something that we create by mistake, then we can just do it over again. Yeah. And we can hope that we'll have a tomorrow so that we can wake up the next morning and keep on going with that journey, keep on going with this growth that we're having. And that journey, like I said, the journey that we're on is a growth. It's growing. We're growing, journeying and growing at the same time, learning and experiencing and growing at the same time. That's why they call this earth. They call this third dimension that we're in, this creation that God created and set us into, which is only fit for human, I think, for the most part. It's created for us, just for us human, to have all these experiences and journey and serving our purposes and the reasons that we're here. We learn, we existing and we're creating, and we're learning how to be better and more bolder and more prolific and more productive creators, because that's what we are. And we learn how to do it deliberately. intentionally. I did a message on Sunday, and we were talking about how intentional God is. Well, we're created in the image of God, so we ought be intentional like our Father, like our Creator, like our source, like we were created to be. And that's something else that we're doing, part of our journey. Part of our journey is to come into the understanding, the full understanding of who we are, not part of it. We don't want to be partially awake. We don't want to be partially conscious. We don't want to be partially aware. We want more and more and more awareness. We want to be more and more awake. We want to be more and more conscious of who and what we are. Because the more we are, the deeper that relationship is, with that connection is with our spirit man. And we're doing justice by our spirit. We're allowing our physical bodies to be, be instruments for the spirit man, so that spirit can have the relationship of being human, being of flesh and blood. Like I said, God is not a flesh and blood. So God experiences flesh and blood through us. He through us. Yes. So we define, let me kind of give you a refresher on the definition of spirituality. Spirituality, we define spirituality as the recognition of a feeling or a sense or a belief that there is something greater than myself, than the flesh and blood that I am, and even the little piece of God that I am. There's something bigger, because how did I come to be? How did I come to be this flesh and blood person? How did I come to be the spirit man in me having the experience? So I question that, and I recognize it's got to be something that caused me to be, some part of me that this the spirit that's in me, and I recognize the spirit in my fellow man and my neighbors and my children and my family and my friends and my connections and my relationships. And I recognize that same spirit. We have a kinship, a relationship. There's something about us that's the same but different. The same but different. So that spirit man in me recognizes the spirit in you, or in us, or in others. And likewise, your spirit and the spirits of others recognize the spirit in me and each other. So we recognize spirituality is recognizing each other. Even though we're in different vehicles and different cars and different bodies and different flesh and bloods and different human, but we are the same and connected in some way. So we recognize that connection, whatever that connection is, that gives us that relationship, that kinship. That is the spirit. That's the spirituality. So we recognize the feeling or the sense or the belief that there is something greater than just me, or just the spirit that's looking out at me, something more to being, and it's a lot more to being human. It's more than just the human sensations that I have, the sense of my five senses. It's something even greater and bigger than that. And then there's a part of me that's a strange, some kind of mystical knowing or mystery. That's spirit. That's the spirit man in me, because all of a sudden I'm getting senses or extra sensory understandings and perceptions. That, how did I know that? Something had to bring that understanding to me, or something had to, so that spirit has a connection too. And how does it get its information? I can get my information from each other, from the books, from going to school, from going to church, going to synagogue, going to religious organizations, institutions, and learning through that way. I can read the Bible, I could read the Torah, I can read and understand things. But what educates and what gives my spirit man its not knowing and its education and its thing, I allow it to use me to have an experience in this world. But hey, if you think for one moment that the spirit needs my human self to understand and realize and to know and to sense and to just need a use of those five senses, because it has senses that are over and beyond, again, mysterious senses, mystical senses that are going over and beyond my five senses, my five senses. So again, spirituality is defined as the recognition of a feeling or a sense or a belief that there is something greater than myself, something more to being human than my five senses, or that my senses can experience it. And that's great, and that the greater whole of which I'm a part of. So if I'm a part of something, then there's got to be something bigger than me. All right. I sense that I'm a part of something. I sense that I'm incomplete. I sense that there's more to me than just what I can see in a mirror or I can see or recognize in each other. I look at you and I can see more. There's more of you than I can see. I can't read your mind, but I can sense your spirit. I can hear you speak to me. I can feel you. I can touch you. I can taste you if I want to, but I can't go into your mind and read it. So we have to communicate with each other and do that. And we define, and let's define creativity as well. Creativity is defined as the ability to make or otherwise bring into our experience, our existence, something different, something new, something that I don't have now, that I can create and I can make and I can bring it into my being. Just like God created everything that we experience and we see in our nature, in the world, in all of creation, all of the universes or whatever. All of that God created. We have the power. We don't need to go creating universes, but we do create our existence, our lives, we bring things into our experiences, things that we want to have and we want to experience. We create those. God gave us the power to do that. So we can create our little world, our little family, our little network, our little niche. Just like I'm inviting you to become part of our community, our YouTube community, our family. Then I'm basically manifesting this community of conscious, aware, and awakened conscious ones who can share, and we can recognize one another, and we can encourage one another. We can inspire and motivate one another to be all that we can be, because that's what we're here for. We're here to figure out everything that's available to us, everything that we possibly can be. God wants us to do that. Our Creator wants us to explore and find out the extent, the full extent of what we are and who we are. All right. So we defined our creativity as the ability to make or otherwise bring into our existence something new, something, some idea, some concept, some experience, some relationship, just as Creator created us and all of the universes around and about us, and all of this beautiful nature and this beautiful earth and creation and all the planets and stars and everything that we can see and touch and feel. God created. We have the ability to create and bring things closer into our experience. So we want to go to the moon. Just learn how to be an astronaut and jump in one of those spaceships and zip up to the moon. So we can manifest those experiences that we want. We can do that. Like I said, just as our Creator created us in the world in which we live and enjoy and have our being, we too create, and with the same power and the same ability, just a piece of it, maybe. God has all power invested in his hands, but we have in our parts we have that piece of God. So we have invested in us all the power that we need to manifest and create any and everything that we want and we need, and we like. Okay. So we can learn to be just as efficient and just as prolific manifestors, creators as our Father is. God does not withhold anything from us. He wants us to live out the fullness. He wants us to have every bit and find out every bit of who we are and what we are capable of being, and do it. Not only find it out, but experience it as well. Creativity is our God-given gift. It's our inheritance. And the spirit that's in us, that's the God part of us. That's the God self. And that part of us knows very well how to use the inheritance. We just, as human, need to give ourselves over to that spirit man to lead and guide us. So that spirit man can become fuller and fuller. And we all at the same time enjoying this beautiful creation, this beautiful world that was given to us, that we inherited, and we can go find, just go on hunts and find out all kinds of things that we're able to do and able to have and able to experience through the act of creation, through the act of our curiosity, through the act of awareness and attentions and focus and visualizations and through the use of every I don't know, tool that God gave us. That's what Conscious Creators Toolbox is about. Every week we sit down and we talk, we look at our creative powers. We have powers we have yet to even discover. We have these extrasensory. We have human gifts and human sensations, human senses, but we also have extrasensory things that are just unique to the spirit man, and we want to understand those. We want to get to know them. We want to get familiar with all of our spiritual powers and our spiritual gifts. Yeah, we understand our five senses pretty well, but we have five senses and then some, because we have within us the spirit man, that spirit in us, and that spirit has tools, that spirit has gifts that we are yet to fully understand, yet to completely utilize, yet to use to have and to experience this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful vessel, this beautiful creation that God has given us. Everything God does is creative. Everything we do is creative. I don't care what you do. You pick up a pencil. You're changing your children's diapers. You're cooking meals. You're going to the grocery store. You're driving along the way. You're planning vacations. You're even out having fun on your vacations. You're hiking. You're learning. You're teaching your children. Everything you do is a form of creativity, a form of creation, and you're creating the experience. You're creating, the world, you're creating those things, and then you step into them to enjoy them and to have them and to be them, right? Yeah. Creativity is actually, like I said, it's an inheritance, it's a gift. And we, like God, our creator, also create. In fact, we have an insatiable need to create. Again, everything we do is creating. Everything, every thought that we have is a seed of creation, something that we're in the process of creating, or we're desiring to bring into our. The words that we speak are creative. We speak words of creation, of creativity. When we admit that we're creators, it just confirms that we're creators. When we say, I want, that's the beginning of a creation. When we start believing that we are, and that we have, and that we're doing, that's the vessel. That's the tools of creativity. Tools of creativity. Yeah. We create everything about our reality. Every experience, everything, every event, every single circumstance, every relationship, every connection, we created. We brought it into being. We brought it into being with the help. We can't create alone. And we'll talk about that sometime. And we've talked about that as a tool and create. We understand that we don't create alone, that we partner with someone. It takes two to bring something about. So you have to have at least two people to create or manifest anything. That's yeah. So and we could talk about that in another session. But we create everything about our lives, every experience, everything. And then we do it. We create it, we make it, and we step into it, and we do it, we be it, and we have it. We come to believe, understand, and know that. Let's say that. We said it this way: when we come to believe and know this about ourselves and understand this about ourselves, then it makes us more deliberate, intentional about our creativity. Nothing is wasted by any means, but when we want we want to be deliberate about it and intentional about it, then we'll be more on target about the things that we bring into our lives. We'll have less things that we don't want to happen in our lives and more things that we do want. When we become more understanding who we are, understanding how to use these special spiritual gifts and these special creative tools. We understand that. And just like Father, just like God, just like Source, just like Creator, we too can be intentional. We too can be. We just rely on that spirit man to lead us and to show us how to build and be that. All right. One of the things we were going to talk about with spiritual, in regards to spiritual growth, is what is spiritual growth? How do we do this? How do we grow spiritually? And what is spiritual growth? Well, it's creating, it's manifesting, it's living our lives. It's everything is created. But by doing the inner work, by going within and understanding who we are, rather than looking on the outside, because you're not going to learn a whole lot about yourself through your creator, created. You learn about yourself through the source of your creativity. All right. So you go into your inner, you do that inner work, that learning who you are. And you do that by going in to have a communion with yourself, or to have a communion with your higher self, your inner man, that spirit man about you. And you seek a relationship with your source. You get to know more about God. You get to know more about the Creator. You get to know more about you, because you are an imitate. You're a chip off the block. You're a piece of God. You're a piece of God. So the more you understand about your source, about Creator, the more you understand about who you are. The more we realize what we are, always and forever, understand that we're creating and manifesting in our lives. The more we understand about who we are, we understand the process of creating, the process of manifesting in our lives. And the inner work, or the exploration, as we're exploring and discovering ourselves, it's a journey. And that journey helps us realize that we are connected to not stuff out here so much, but there's a connection inside of us, that the source of the connection. All right. And that's where we want to go. We want to understand that we are connected to the universe, just like we're connected to one another, because my spirit recognizes the spirit in you. Your spirit recognizes the spirit in me. So we recognize that connection, and that connection, we understand that when we make that connection, we remain grounded and connected, and we sync with that connection. It energizes us. It gives us more power, because when you're connected, say if you got you're connected to your outlet, you got this, you're connected to the source, you are you got juice going, you got the energy going, you got the energy flowing. So when we are grounded and synced with our source, that higher part of us, then we are energized and we're ready to go. And we're unstoppable. Basically, we're unstoppable. So we're connected to source. We're connected to universe. We're connected to each other. So we know that we're creating. We're creating. Creator use. How am I going to say this? We want to say that we can create just like God. Basically, that's in a nutshell. That's what we do. Our creativity allows us to give back to God, to confirm who we are by imitating God through our creativity. And our creativity allows us to experience the spirit, our God self, through not only our five senses, our sense of taste and smell and hearing and touching, but we also have additional power. And by staying connected to the spirit man and to source, then that spirit man is empowered and energizes, and it opens up to those extrasensory senses. We call them extrasensory perceptions, or it energizes our it energizes our gut feelings and that intuition and those things that, like it just seems to come from somewhere, and there it is, because we're connected. So that juice is that energy is flowing and that power is going. And as long as we stay connected and we stay grounded and we stay synced up, then we're forever. We're forever. We got the flow. We got the flow. So our creativity allows us to give back to God. And by staying connected, we maintain that flow, that back and forth, and everything that we need to manifest and to create is available to us. And then we get more proficient about it because we're empowered by our intuition and those extrasensory things that all of a sudden something that you're like, what, how did I know that? And that happens to me quite often. It's like I'm talking, I'm sharing something with you, and I think, oh, did I say that? And where did that come from? It comes from this. It comes from source. It comes from that connection that I have with my higher self and with source and with God and with that spirit man in me. And so just all of a sudden, I know things, or I'm able to do things that I wasn't aware that I didn't, where did that come from? So yeah, growing spiritually is not a one-way street. When we grow spiritually, it's not just one way to do it. And again, it's not just it's not just, one way. Not just me going in, it's me receiving and exchanging and receiving and trading off unbeliefs or strengthening my beliefs with knowings and creating and experiences and having those experiences and understanding and receiving from those experiences. So it's not a one-way street. There are all sorts of twists and turns to our spiritual growth, and we all grow at our own pace, and we all grow in our own way, in our own time. We have our individual growth. I grow. I mean, I might be a little bit more advanced in one area of my life than another person, and somebody else is more advanced. I mean, it's just like, I may have a master's degree and somebody has a PhD. Well, you know what? We have certain levels of degrees of awareness and understanding and growth. All right. So growing spiritual is not a one-way street. There's all sorts of twists and turns and changes in directions that our spiritual journeys can take, and we cross paths with each other. We walk along the way with somebody, then we split and go our separate ways. We'll meet somebody else and go, and then we'll decide, well, I'm going to take a break, or maybe I can go down this path, and we got meet a fork in the road. Then we make some decisions. We want to go that way or that way, or turn around and go back a little bit, and then go back and get something. We can decide. We can decide how, and we want to rely too on the spirit man, because we're growing spiritually. So what's growing? What's growing is the spirit man in us. We benefit from that growth from the spirit man, but we allow the spirit to lead us. We allow the spirit to raise up in its gifts and its knowing and its understanding and who the spirit is, and we follow spirit. So spiritual growth can be categorized in two different forms: vertical spiritual growth and horizontal spiritual growth. Now, they don't always go hand in hand. You don't always go, at the same time, vertical and you can, and sometimes they do go together. You don't have to go hand in hand. They can and they cannot, so it's according to, it's an individual. Each one of us have our own lesson plan, if you will, or our own spiritual growth plan, if you will, and our own way of doing it. And then we tweak it, and then we get hard-headed and we decide we don't want to do it that way, and we do want to change it up. So we'll partner with our spirit man, and then sometimes we don't, and it's just how we roll anyway. So we don't always, it doesn't always go hand in hand. The vertical and the horizontal form of developing doesn't always go hand in hand. We can develop both forms at the same time or at different times. We can focus on one and we can focus on another. We can, switch up a little bit. We learn and we grow at our own individual speeds and ways. Vertical growth, vertical spiritual growth, that's when you're going upward. That is having a closer relationship with your higher being, with God, with your creator, with source. And it's helping you identify your purpose. Because God created us for a purpose and gave and placed in us a reason. So in order to understand that, We need to go to source, and we need to find out, what is it that I'm supposed to be creating? What is it that I'm supposed to be manifesting? What is it I'm supposed to be doing here? Why am I here? You want to know why you're here? Find out why Creator created you to be here. So that those answers come from source. Now, this type of I call it vertical growth is aligned with traditional ideas. And as human beings, we have traditional ideas of faith and spirituality and religion. So we can take part of that, and we can understand that, because if we've ever been a part of a religious institution, a church or some sort, which I grew up in a church, so I understand that I have religious education, I have Christian education, I have the Bible to study and to read and to understand. I have Christian principles or religious laws and things that I have to come to understand. So I learned that. And then I kind of have to really understand that it's a lot more than what I'm going to be able to read, educate, in a book or see or touch it. I'm going to have to rely on spirit to open my understanding up to the sacred scriptures, to the sacred word, to understand how to apply this into a spiritual into a spiritual perspective, if you would. I understand it mentally. I understand all the laws, but then, how do you love? How do you not, break the law? All right. So then that's when that's when spirit comes in, and that's the relationship with the source himself, with God, with Creator, and then we understand where the law, what the law can't do. We understand that there is another law that is spiritual, that it's a law within itself. That's how we manage to follow and to apply and to comply and to be able to do and not do what the law specifies us to do. That we have to have that relationship with God. We have to have that spiritual education, that spiritual understand, that spiritual knowledge. So that's when that vertical is when you reach out to spirit itself, or to God, and you get that understanding. And that's when you have to rely on your spirit man, because your spirit man, you can't have a relationship with God without having faith, without love, without those intangible, those things that you can't put your hands on. You got to have compassion. You got to have acceptance. You got to have all those things that you can't put your hands on. So your spirit man will have to help you there, and that's when you totally rely on that. Now, the other one is the vertical. Oh, I'm sorry, the horizontal. The horizontal is when it's building up that relationship, that growth with others, with your community. All right. You don't live in the world by yourself. You've got tons of relationships and tons of connections and tons of friends and family members and neighbors and bosses and people in your life that you have. You have to learn how to live with, how to communicate with, how to relate to, how to love, how to be loved by them. We have to learn those things. And when we're looking at it horizontally, we're looking at each other. And just like the spirit man recognizes the spirit in someone else, when we see one another, we see a reflection of ourselves in that person. All right. So, and that's all part of growing. It's all part of spiritual growth and just growing as human beings. So it's a kind of a two-way street. Human relationships with each other, where we have to use our spiritual gifts in order to be proficient at it and good at it and develop and grow and be better and have a better life in a better way. So yeah, we need it. And then we have the vertical, where we're the source, where we're connected to source. We understand the importance of being connected with source, so that we can grow and we can be more and we can be better. Basically, our spiritual growth has absolutely everything to do with our life journey. They're kind of hand in hand. Our life journey is spiritual growing. We grow as we journey. We grow as we create. We grow as we manifest. We grow as we develop. We grow as we learn. We grow as we come to understand. We grow through misunderstandings, and we grow through reevaluating and reassessing and redoing and experiencing it a different way. Coming to understand, we grow through this all of the spiritual gifts, loving and compassion and all those things that you can't put your hands on, but you do. We grow through understanding that we have laws that keep boundaries so that we won't wander off in someone else's lane or someone else's space. So we respect that, but we understand that in order to do it properly and with any kind of grace and any kind of proficiency or any kind of endurance, we need spiritual stuff. We need the gifts of love and forgiveness and compassion. So we learn those things as we experience them. We create the experiences in our lives. We step into them so that we can learn and we can understand. And then we don't like that, or something goes wrong, we back up and we create and manifest something else, and then we step into that and try. But we never lose track of our source. We never disconnect ourselves from source. We have to stay connected to source in order to do this the good way, the right way, the best way. So it is through our creativity that our individual spirits have and enjoy the human experience. Everything that God created in the third dimension gives us, allows us, make available to us everything that we will need as we grow, as we manifest, as we create, as we have our experiences, as we learn, as we make mistakes, as we learn again. Everything we need to have that human experience is available to us. And if we use it properly, or if we use it with love and compassion and diligence and intention and focus and willpower, just using it and learning from it and not beating ourselves up when we make a mistake. Just understand that's all part of learning. Learning, you're going to make mistakes if you learn. If you don't make a mistake, you're not learning anything. I guarantee you. You're just repeating the same old stuff over again. You learn through every experience that you have, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. You're learning something, and you're growing, and you're on this journey, on your life's journey. And with any grace or any oomph to it, you have identified your purpose, and you're living it. You're living it intentionally, deliberately. So create like your creator does, because that's what you're made to do. Manifest the life that you desire, that you want, that you dream of. Develop and grow in understanding, in proficiency, in how to do this thing. Expand your awareness, expand your consciousness. Wake yourself up a little bit more every day with every act of creativity that you do. Everything, absolutely everything you do. Understand it's an opportunity for you to expand and be more and more aware and closer to being all that God created you to be, or created us to be. That's all I have tonight. I hope you got something out of this. And again, if you get a chance, subscribe to us, subscribe to our channel, and become part of our community. And share the content. If you like, you can just I think you can copy and paste the link to our broadcast and share with us, and come back to see us next week. And if you are so inclined, on Sunday we have our Sunday morning celebration. On Sunday morning we do that via our YouTube, our Zoom. And so we usually post a link on that, and we try to post a link on our YouTube channel as well. So you may be able to find the link for our Sunday mornings spiritual celebration Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. You might find that link there as well in the description box underneath the video. So until next week, manifest best. Remember that you are the created, the beloved of the Creator. You're created to love. You are lovable. You're loved, and you are loving. I love you. God loves you. And until next week, remember, manifest best. Good night.